He says, I dearly love doing that job. It was my type of job because it involves helping people, and I was always getting compliments.
That's friggin' adorable.
Dueling Decades.
All right, Mancrush, you jump out to a lead, heading into our first 2-point round, and you get to select our next category.
Before I select that, do you guys know where we air? Other than
space.
In space, but we're also on podtv.live. And you can
which
get
if
that
you have a
under...
Firestick or a Roku, you can watch it in space.
That's right.
How crazy is that?
Or Apple TV, or you can watch it on the web, or get the app on your phone.
Yeah.
But we only have 2 categories left. It's just, what do I want to end with? Let's go news. All right, so let's go July 27th, 1988. And here's a story. I just ran across this one from a newspaper in Kentucky. You know what? Like, before computers and like databases existed or were prevalent everywhere, just imagine how much this occurred. All right. So this story, it's out of Louisville, Kentucky, and it's called Kind-Hearted Cop Writes Fake Tickets. Let's go. Michael Grist says he just doesn't have the heart to write tickets anymore. So for the last year and a half, the 17-year veteran of the Louisville Police Department has written 1 or 2 fake tickets a week and names that don't exist for such offenses as speeding, running red lights, and having like burned out tail lights or improper registrations. And I quote Grist right here. He said, I just could not bring myself to write tickets. I had a conscience. I had a heart. I started seeing human beings behind the wheel. Louisville Police Chief Richard Dotson concluded that Grist, I don't know if it's Grist or Grist. It's spelled like Christ with a G. So I'm going to call him Grist. That Richard Dotson concluded that Grist wrote the tickets to maintain a high enforcement statistic rating. Grist, 36, has been suspended for 25 days for writing bogus tickets during the past 18 months. But it appears his reluctance to ticket real people goes back a lot longer. Chief Jefferson District Judge Donald Smalley's Chief Jefferson District Judge. That's a lot of fucking titles. We're just gonna call this guy Judge Smalley. Judge Smalley said a computer listing of all tickets from Grist was written. From all tickets Grist has written since 1981 shows more than 1,000 are in names of people whom the Transportation Authority says could not find valid Kentucky driver's licenses. However, the state official, this article is really pulled very shitty. It's like a very bad rip. However, the official letter from Dotson to the safety director, Thomas Custer, recommending Grist suspension says only that Grist has admitted he wrote 1 or 2 phony tickets a week over the past year and a half. In his letter, Dotson said that he's considering recommending that Grist be fired, but decided to be more lenient because Grist was not motivated by greed. Assistant City Law Director, where do they come up with these fucking titles? Paul Gallardo said that Grist may have violated state law when he wrote these false tickets. However, Gallardo said he never determined which statute Grist could have violated because district court officials told Dotson that they didn't wish to prosecute the officer. Grist apparently got nabbed because many of the tickets were returned to the district court because there was no address. It was all fake. So this whole thing is dating back. This guy started being a cop like in the 70s, but they pulled it all the way back to 1981, and they found like thousands of fake tickets that this guy had written. So instead of pulling people over, he just like made a fake one up. Ticket didn't go to anybody, kept the stats high, blah, blah, blah. So here's an update. August 20th, 1988. The Louisville Police Department did what? He was suspended for 25 days at the time. He comes back from suspension on the 20th. They had a rule. What did they do?
They put him on double secret probation.
What do you think, Mark?
They went back in time and found out that those tickets were all written for real people.
He's a time cop.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe?
Oh man, I don't know. I want to say he was like real guess. I want to say he was fired, but I don't know. I lost whatever my funny guess was, so might as well just go with that.
He was not fired. They actually put him back on the job. And a month later, they said he started writing these bogus tickets because he was giving people too many breaks, and he felt that his activity level would be low. But police officials, I found this interesting. Police officials have denied that there's any quota system and said that Grice was motivated by self-imposed peer pressure. Grice said that he's hoping to return to the job that he's had since January. So what they gave him starting in January, when I guess the investigation went on, they just put him in a truck and he just cruised up and down the expressways looking for people that were stranded. And he really liked that job. So I think that's what they gave him again, but they did not fire him. But it's the cop that wrote thousands of fake tickets to nobody.
Wow.
And that's pretty terrible.
We need more police officers like this.
He's just like, eh. He's like, Marc James, shitty car, out taillight.
Wanted for mopery.
Yeah, Mobley. Throw that on there too. Good. But yeah, I want, like, seriously, you think about it in the 80s, like now, obviously there's no way that anybody could do this. Like there's databases and there's absolutely the trail is just insane. But back then, 70s and 80s, how much did this happen? How much did this happen in any fucking job where people were like, oh yeah, I gave that report to Rita. And then somebody was walking around looking for, like, who the fuck is Rita? But yeah, it's a cop that wrote bullshit tickets. News.
All right, Mike Ranger, what did you bring for the news round?
Well, guys, I've got quite the tale here. So strap yourselves in. On July 25th, 1978, the first human was born from IVF, or in vitro fertilization, which is a process where an egg is combined with sperm in a glass tube, and boom, dino DNA. All right. So that's right. Louise Joy Brown was the first test tube baby born at Oldham General Hospital in Lancashire, England. Her parents were unable to conceive due to complications with blocked fallopian tubes. Due to what many considered to be the most remarkable medical breakthrough of the 20th century, Louise was born by C-section, weighing 5 pounds and 12 ounces. Her sister Natalie was born 4 years later by the same process, and in 1999, Natalie became the first IVF baby to give birth herself without IVF aid. So yeah, there you have it. This is the world's first test tube baby, which is, amazing, except with in the walls of the Roman Catholic Church. This is probably the worst to them.
And probably the worst to that young lady who was born a test tube baby, because how many times have we used that as an insult?
I know.
Test tube baby.
The great Robin Harris would call everybody
Right.
a test tube baby.
Wow. All right, how to follow up that? Jeez. All right,
Gotta jerk off into a glass tube, man.
I guess.
Circle jerk with dwarfs.
Yeah, bring the midgets.
I do that once around.
Is that what you're doing over there? I saw the mic jiggling.
My whole desk, legitimately though, if we do this, my whole desk shakes when I knock it. So we got to be careful.
All right, gentlemen. For my new selection, coming off the 1998 finals, the NBA was never hotter, and the Bulls had just won another championship and completed their second three-peat against the rival Utah Jazz in a rematch from the previous year's finals. And then on July 1st, 1998, the NBA would go from an all-time high to an all-time low, as once again, money, greed, and bullshit would get in the way, and the NBA would lock out for the next 204 days. And despite having a few previous lockouts before 1998, the NBA was the only major sports league in the United States history that had never lost a game because of a work stoppage. So due to the lockout, NBA players were replaced on the U.S. national team. And the primary issue was that was that the player salaries, which the owners wanted to put a cap on. The Players Association wanted to raise salaries for players who earn the league minimum. And after talk of replacement players for the next season and canceling the season totally, as an agreement was finally met on January 6th, the day before Commissioner David Stern's deadline. The owners ultimately got their way after much damage to the league, the players, and especially the fans. The new agreement capped the players' salaries between $9 million and $14 million, depending on how long they played in the NBA. The NBA had then become the first major sports organization in the United States to limit the salaries of its players. There was also a new rookie pay scale that was introduced. And of course, we got the lovely luxury tax, which allowed wealthy teams to just spend whatever they want as long as they paid a fine of equal amounts back to the league to line their pockets. So after the lockout was done and over, we started a 50-game season, but by that time the damage was already done. Ticket sales, TV ratings, and attendance, they were all down. Michael Jordan had retired for the second time, and in total, 464 regular season games were lost and countless fans. I give you the July 1998, the start of the NBA lockout.
I think that's why I stopped watching the NBA.
That's when most people stopped watching the NBA. I did the same thing with hockey when they locked out, and I never recovered. They totally lost me there.
I'll probably never watch basketball again after the United States lost to France.
Oh, wow.
All right, Joe Findlay, let's hear your ruling on the news round.
It's interesting you bring up the U.S. and France thing, too, because I remember they said it was their first loss since 2004. I'm like, 2004? I thought this would have been their first loss since, like, 1992. Like,
Ever.
yeah, it was just like, ever since they decided to put Michael Jordan on the Dream Team and every team since then, I just figured that was the case. But now you have Zydrunas Ilgauskas out there chasing you down. There's international stars.
And they only scored 76 points.
I know. Well, it's the weird. Yeah, everything's weird about the Olympics right now. Ugh, forget about it. It's too hot out there. But let's start with Mancrush and the fake tickets. I feel for this guy. It's such a tough thing because I go back and forth because they talk about those, the quotas of it all and stuff, and I'm like, I don't agree with quotas, obviously, but then it's like, it's how else do they? Because what would stop everybody out there to just go and just tip the cap and just sleep the 8 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, and just nope, sorry, everybody obeyed the law. I don't know why. It's like, yeah, there was 20 cars on fire in front of me and there was a gunfight, but daddy had to nap. But so it's such a hard, weird situation, and the way that these things get dealt with, and the way that just, I have a lot of strong opinions, police. I'm not going to get into any of that. But then, like, the way that certain discipline comes down and certain discipline doesn't come down. But I did love the end of this story, which was kind of like he became sort of a park ranger. You just drive around and just chill out. That's like his dream job, right? Unless it was that park ranger who I had that one time who kept getting struck by lightning.
66 times?
It's funny that you should say that. He actually had a quote at the end of that article, and he said, he's talking about that job, and he says, I dearly love doing that job. It was my type of job because it involves helping people, and I was always getting compliments.
That's friggin' adorable.
Yeah, how do you fire that guy?
Yeah.
I now have a picture in my head, like he's just I picture that he's an old grandpa and always has been. He's born
only 36.
That way. No, this guy looks like an old grandpa. It doesn't matter how old he was, and he's got his
an old
pants
36.
up to here. Yeah, he's an old
Very
36.
Suspenders.
He's Barney Fife.
Yeah, that was my thing too. I was like, God, where is this? It's like, if this is Mayberry, you're gonna have to make some fake tickets if there's an expectation. But yeah, that was just a kind of crazy up and down story that had a really fun, nice ending. Mike, you're gonna have to just explain to me again, what was the worst of this IVF? Like, this seems like amazing news.
Well, the truth of the matter is that I couldn't really find much news. So I'm spinning it as the Catholics hated it.
Oh, see, I thought you were spinning it because it's a test tube baby.
No. This is one of the most amazing things ever, except for, the Pope didn't think so.
Yeah, like you were just talking, and I'm just like, man, all the families that were like, and I'm like Mike wins is like the families that wouldn't have existed otherwise are here. Wait a minute, this is supposed to be bad, the best of bad. Oh, maybe that's why. Maybe like a lot of shitty people were born because of IVF.
I mean, I could have talked about Princess Diana if you guys want, but.
Oh no. I remember getting yelled at the first time I went down that well. I was still new. And then we go to the NBA lockout. I agree. I stopped watching the NBA as a regular thing. I mean, I still watch basketball from time to time, especially when the Raptors are doing good. But yeah, that was the kind of the hottest it had ever been, which is weird because it ended with Utah Jazz near the top. But it's bad, and then everything just was. I don't know. Everything just got dirty during that lockout. That luxury tax is exactly like think about that for baseball. Say they did the same thing. It was the Yankees. Nothing would change. It'd be like, we're still gonna just dole out our money because we've got it. And then the people who don't have it, screw you. But
well, they do that. They do that in baseball. So they end up paying it, but they don't give a shit.
Exactly. I didn't realize they had to pay a fine in it, but yeah, I can see, the fans have a very minimal expectation that its sport is just going to be there, and then when it's not, and then when it gets kind of dirty and like political and all these kind of things, plus MJ's not on the other side of this lockout, yeah, I mean, it put a bad taste in everybody's mouth, and I get that. So for me, I'm going to go with the NBA lockout just because it really, it was a kind of game changer in this. I mean, I want to put out the IVF is amazing news, and I love the effort of the twist, but I can't, in good judging conscience, let that slide. So yeah, we're gonna go with Mark.
All right.
Well, apparently that lady's fallopian tubes wouldn't let anything slide either.
I'm gonna give you just 1 point for that.
Thank you.
That was fantastic.